You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files Season 3 with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit us at www.kyxfiles.com. And now, on to our show.
So, Tyler, what were you saying again? How'd that go? One more time for the people in the back.
Yeah.
Well, I think we stole Tyler's intro thunder.
Okay. Yeah, I think we.
The
fans would want to know this stuff.
Why don't you kick this pig for us, baby?
I can't tell if he's that still or if his camera broke.
That was good. That was good.
Welcome back, guys, to your Kentucky X-Files.
Ooh, we.
Hopefully, y'all out there listening to this are not experiencing the same freaking seasonal jet lag that I am. I know I've been bitching about it all morning, but
it's put me in a bad fucking mood at work. I'm snapping at people. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, he hit me at band practice yesterday.
He didn't hit you at band practice.
Yeah, he was beating me while you guys were.
We were in the room with you the whole time.
I say,
I mean, you're a bass player, so nobody in the audience is going to disagree with that, but I didn't do it.
Fuck you.
Every single, the aim, though, would be like, all
let's be honest and be fair. There is no way I would risk smacking my Gibson Explorer into something to beat Tyler. And this room is not big enough to move around. You know that.
Not to mention, I mean, even that, and then the other, like the Gibson ethic going on. I mean, he's holding a Thunderbird.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like there's just you can't risk it.
Right. It's too dangerous.
Yeah. It's weird. It's in the room in the band, like when the band's playing, my guitar is probably the most beat up in the room. Like it is without a doubt like the most rundown guitar in the room.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
But goddamn, she sound good. She beauty. Yeah, I think it was Dave like a few weeks back was like, dude, what is that right there? Is that from your fucking pick? I'm like, dude, this thing has been played hard for a long time, man. I'm like, yeah, there's like a faded line of like where I've like picked or whatever. It's funny because I never even noticed it. Like I didn't notice it until he pointed it out. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, there is a faded spot.
People pay good money for guitars to have that shit done to them fake.
That's fucking
wild. It's kind of like oh God, I can't
like the torn up jeans or whatever.
Yeah.
What the hell? I can't believe I forgot his name. It's country dude. Smokes a lot of weed.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson. That's I couldn't figure out his last name.
Snoop Dogg.
You talking about Trigger?
Yeah, his acoustic.
Yeah, Trigger.
Yeah, like he says that he takes it in to make sure it's like okay, but dude, it has a hole in it. It's worn down. Even the frets itself, like they have waves in them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like
I've got.
He won't fix it.
I've got an
acoustic.
acoustic
The day
like that
like he says that when the day comes when that thing breaks, he's done.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. My acoustic Susie is like that. You can tell where it's been played most frequently because the finish is wearing off of the fretboard.
Yeah.
Completely.
I don't know that I have an acoustic that's worn down like that. The Explorer saw It saw a lot of action for a solid decade there, so
Yeah.
it definitely got its abuse.
Yeah.
But I have never actually sat and looked at the frets that like to see if there was any waves in them. I can't imagine there would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And still, I mean, just now got her broke in.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's just now broke in.
I can't wait till mine's a little more broke in. It's starting to get there. It's starting to feel good,
Mm-hmm. Every week, man, I think about ordering some Fishmans for the V.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it because it's got that front plate, so it's like you can literally everything can be mounted to that front plate, and you just drop the whole thing in. Like,
yeah, it's quick.
It's the one thing like I love about the V, but I also dislike about it.
Yeah,
hate that big ass hollow.
Yeah,
like everything's mounted to a piece of plastic. That's kind of
yeah. I need to get Elvira, my Dean ML, into some place to just mess with the electronics. I'm tired of looking at it not being able to play it.
Yeah.
A bridge pickup it will not. It's like it's single coil or something. I don't know what's going on.
Weird.
I've opened it up 3 or 4 times and I can't see anything physically wrong. So
yeah.
But
it's weird. I love the way there's sound though. That
when it was playing right and sounding good, hell yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love playing that guitar too. It's like it's feather light and it sounds amazing. But right now it's just pissing me off.
Yeah, it's super light.
Yeah.
Very easy playing guitar.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Kentucky Guitar Files.
Yeah.
Well, I said, before we even started, you guys were talking about music and stuff. I kind of wanted to throw do you guys know any music conspiracies? Let's throw this in there. I didn't know if you guys had any. I've heard of one that's pretty big. I heard I heard it a long time ago on
about Elvis.
No.
Oh.
I know, I have heard that one too.
Yeah.
And that one does sound pretty believable. I'll give that. But the one that everybody is on the fence about just because of the whole scenario is Kurt Cobain's death.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a big one because a lot especially they said that he should with all the drugs that was in his system, he shouldn't have been able to pick up that shotgun, let alone aim it at himself and shoot.
I don't know, man. That's a bit of a stretch.
Dude, we even talked about the effects that just your normal just doing weed would do to most of us. Some of us don't.
That's because we're not drug users.
Yeah, but granted, he it's not a shock. Kurt Cobain was a heavy drug user and drinks a lot of alcohol, so there's always that thing. But that's why I feel like a lot of people feel that it wasn't a suicide, but then he was a very depressed person, and so that goes to saying it seems right because how depressed of a person he was. But if you've ever actually looked into that the most people that seem that would would commit suicide are the ones that don't talk about it. They don't show their emotion. They might be a little bit they might show you that they're depressed, but everybody's I would never have guessed they would have done that.
No, depression is hilarious. And I'm not saying that to be mean or spiteful or, this is probably a quote that's going to get me canceled later on. Depression depression is hilarity, right? Because I remember when I was going through a really, 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 really dark time in my life. All of my outward communication, especially on social media, was attempting to make everybody else around me laugh, because if they were laughing, it brought me up a little bit. It made me feel a little bit better. It's same thing with Robin Williams. That dude behind the scenes was a mess, but what people saw was his hilarity, So the people who are really, really in bad shape, it's really hard to tell unless you're super close to them. you know. And that's why I guess like a lot of people don't understand like the suicides that happened with like, well, these are more conspiracies, Chester and Chris Cornell, you know.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the main reasons why there is even conspiracy theories about it, because people didn't see them as people that would do that. You know, they're wealthy, famous rock stars, you know. So I don't know. With Kurt, I was never a Nirvana fan, so I never paid attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't really even listen to much of his music because I didn't enjoy it, which is probably going to get me canceled also.
Yeah.
But if he used that much heroin on a regular basis, you know, to me, like the people I've known that have overdosed, they've overdosed because they quit using and tried to go back to using what they were using before, which was lethal amounts.
Yeah. I
The
don't know. I have heard these, you know, the conspiracies about, you know, like Courtney Love killing him or having him killed or whatever. And there was a short time where I was on board with it, where I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah, she's spiteful as fuck.
I
She
think
probably
so.
had him killed.
Didn't didn't somebody send us something about this or suggest this in the comments to talk about? Because I remember reading somewhere where somebody was telling us to watch Bleach
Oh yeah, yeah.
documentary on this.
God, that was a while back. I can't remember who said that. I wouldn't even know how far to go back. You
I
know.
think that's
Yeah.
recent. I don't think it's that far back. I think it's been in the
Really?
last 4 episodes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man, whoever said that, man, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll definitely have to do an addendum and do a shout
Yeah.
out to you, you know, at some
Yeah.
point.
But yeah, okay, with that being said, like the whole Courtney Love thing. Like, granted, like
Yeah.
she did have a huge legal battle afterwards of his rights to his music and stuff with Dave Grohl.
Oh,
Well,
I mean, she's
yeah,
the wife, you know, so
yeah,
she gets a claim, and
yeah,
Which
Kurt himself signed that contract. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
see, that's a
it's a
touchy place, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought they said that they were like there was allegations that they were getting a divorce, or did they already have that? Yeah.
Well, see, that's kind of one of those deals too, where I mean, especially in the court of law, it's like
Hmm.
if they were gonna get a divorce,
Yeah.
it's
She's
it's a moot point now because he
yeah,
took his own life.
yeah.
Right.
So if he's dead and they couldn't find anything directly linking her to it,
Hmm.
whether she did it or not, she might as well be innocent.
Was there
Yeah.
ever a doubt in the police that it was a suicide? Or was it always okay, so there was a doubt by the
Yes.
police department.
The police department, the active investigators had many suspicions around it. So that's what actually kicked this whole thing off.
Okay.
Was that even the police were like, it would have been hard to even move with the amount of heroin that was in his system. Well, you're talking about a veteran here. This is somebody who's he'd been at it for a while, and then he'd been clean for a month.
Yeah, didn't he start when he was a teenager?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere early, yeah.
Yeah, so he had 10 years or better of heroin usage.
And then a solid month of a deep detox
of 90s heroin usage.
Yeah. And
not
then
the stuff that's being put out now with fentanyl and all that shit in it.
Right. So he's clean. He's clean. He's already been through the withdrawals, all that. He goes in and he does, you know, a mega dose of what he normally would. That's where the suspicion comes in, is that he came out of a rehab, you know, took himself out of rehab, came back to his home in Seattle, and goes on a bender. So
yeah,
you got to think that being clean for a month and then doing a bender, potentially he wouldn't have even needed the shotgun.
Right.
You know, it would have been enough to just take him out just by itself. that's where the suspicion comes in, where they're like, well, this is kind of weird because even the way he was laying, the way they
It wouldn't
found
have
him,
had. Yeah, it wouldn't have.
it was off. Like there was something off about it. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird, but that's the kind of the nature of like iconic figures. You know what I mean? When I was in my teens, in my teenage years, I listened to a lot of Nirvana for probably 3 or 4 years there, and I will say I learned a lot of song building strategy,
Yeah.
I guess, from listening to Nirvana, and then as I kind of grew out of it, I kind of stopped following. So when by the time he'd taken his own life, I was kind of like, oh wow, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like this dude.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the nature of like iconic figures is like, especially ones that end or like end too soon.
Right.
Because you think of like the 27 Club.
He's in it, isn't he?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
27 Club has all these iconic, Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison and Jimi
Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Wasn't Amy Winehouse in
Amy
there?
Winehouse is in there
Amy
now. Yeah.
Winehouse. Yeah, I mean. Which I don't know if you guys listen to her or not, but I still listen to her. Amy Winehouse was a fucking phenom. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah,
One
she
of the
was
best voices to ever come out, in my opinion.
Yeah, and she was a very old voice.
Yes.
It was
That lounge,
yeah. Well, it had that like the Cuba influence portions of
Yeah.
New York feel
Yeah.
to it, It
Yeah.
definitely had that Bronx or Brooklyn. No, the Brooklyn is it Brooklyn or Bronx where the Cubans, the huge Cuban population. I can't remember.
I want to say Brooklyn, but I don't know. I couldn't
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I've never been, so
I mean,
but it
like,
has that influence,
Yeah.
yeah. But like, look at her life. She got all the way to the point where she got to record a song with her hero, Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
So she's standing in a studio with Tony Bennett, who's, I mean, he was a walking monument. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
dude, like every bit as iconic as like the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
And she's standing in a studio recording a song with him. You know what I mean? So she made it to the top. And then I think the last thing they said she said was that she didn't want to die, and they found her dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
So in a way, like I don't want to be morbid about it, but in some ways, very depressed people, like maybe that was the sign of like the ceiling. That was the end of it. Like it couldn't get any better.
That was their pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't want to go on feeling depressed after having that such of a no matter what, especially meeting somebody that you idolized and getting to do a song, especially like in that industry, being in that industry and getting to do that.
Yeah.
Like I really maybe that was the highest that was ever for her. Like it was just like it could like she had to just let it go because she
Yeah.
didn't want to lose that feeling.
Right.
Like, cause she knows how she felt inside. And so like, cause like, be perfectly honest, I will say this, I'm not the greatest musician in the world, but the times that I've been on stage, it is so amazing.
Oh yeah, it's euphoric.
It's euphoric. Like I know that I beat myself up like the times where I was playing drums and stuff. I was like, dude, I sucked at that part. I fucked that up. But hearing even the smallest of crowds getting into it, it is so amazing. And like I just could not like imagine myself anywhere else but that moment. So
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of kick back a little bit. I don't know if you guys like you've heard the whole theory of Courtney Love potentially like she hired somebody or she did it herself. I'm assuming that everybody keeps saying she hired somebody to do to commit this murder, if you will. But there's another theory about that because there was a very big thing, she had very mental issues growing up,
No.
and she went to therapy. There's some cases where she was a product of the MK Ultra era. Do you remember? Ever heard of that?
Oh, I have heard this before.
It's like LSD or something, I think they said, but it's mind control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some people say that Courtney Love was a CIA agent, technically.
Have
Yeah.
you seen Courtney Love in interviews?
But that's the thing. You would never guess that. Like when you
That's
it's
a good
that
point. Okay,
whole
yeah,
joke
I stand
about
up.
sleeper cell. You say a code word that no one would ever say, and
I
then
could
they
be
wake
Agent
up.
M.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
could that have been like? But there's actually like it was around that time, and didn't she's a part of some other deaths, ain't she? She dated somebody beforehand. I thought she dated
I
some other people beforehand that actually kind of ended their lives too.
I mean, if that's true, I think you know what I'm going to say. You know,
What?
at what point do you kind of stop and you go, maybe it's me? You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if you, I used to own the biography. What was it called? Come as You Are, or whatever, the Kurt Cobain biography.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I remember reading it when I was younger. I read the whole thing, and be honest, man, if you go back and you read it, it starts to become a very, very like clear picture of where it ends. Because from an early on, he had a melancholy, like where it was never relieved. You know what I mean? And he had the stomach issues, the chronic stomach pain for his entire life. So he like never really knew a moment of peace, you know.
Wasn't he like sick? Like, isn't there like something reason he always wore sweaters? Maybe
I
that's
don't
just a conspiracy I always heard.
I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't say, but I know that, I mean, the drugs ended up being a way to stop the pain in his stomach. And then you know how that shit goes. That spirals out of control. And then take a person who's already volatile and depressed, especially living with a chronic pain, and then add a drug that's known for bringing you down to the lowest of the lows. Dude, I really, at this point in life, I'm like, conspiracy or no, I feel like it was going to end that way anyway. And I mean, anything could have been the shotgun at that point. You know, it could have been the needle. It could have been anything. I just feel like, hey, a month before that, right before the rehab thing, he overdosed in Rome.
Really?
Yeah. So he was on that collision. Like it was, the spiral was out of control. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it was just inevitable at that point. He arguably, he definitely came in and he definitely shook up music big time. Uh, Especially I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, if you really want to look at it, like, I mean, he was an unwilling crusader against hair metal. He came in when hair metal was at the height, right? And literally just kicked the chair out from underneath of it. So thank you, Kurt, for that.
No
Because
shit.
when metal recovered, I like to think that metal recovered with a little album entitled "The Great Southern Trendkill." And when that came out, it was, to me, arguably that recovered metal on back onto the path that it's currently at now, which I'm thankful for. So I'm like, although, now Kurt was a metal fan too. Kurt listened to some heavy ass shit. He didn't play it, but he listened to it. But I really feel like what we got out of him was kind of like he was the perfect person for what he needed to be done, if I guess. Like, I feel like it was fated or something. Like it had to go a certain way. He wasn't meant to be
Mhm.
an old Tony Bennett, singing with some young star or a judge on some fucking TV show, dude. He was against all that. He was against the grain,
Yeah.
This is a guy who would like go to the, MTV Music Awards to perform, dude, and like trash the stage. And then sit down with, Kirk Hammett and have a discussion all about the Floyd Rose tremolo. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
were, he was that guy. He wasn't, there was this and there was this, and he was on that path. And I just feel like it was inevitable. I don't feel like it could have ended any other way. That's just me though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Very, very iconic person. And I feel like I feel like he definitely stood up and could stand among the elect as far as some of the most iconic musicians, to step into, the world of music or whatever. Like Elvis, dude. Look at Elvis. Elvis had a fucking phenomenal career, right? The dude was on top of the world. Actually, was helping the government, right? Like he was the real deal. Like you could be like, it's not really a conspiracy because he himself admitted it. You know, you know what I
It's
mean? Like,
FBI. It's in
yeah,
actual FBI documents that he has helped them.
yeah, he had helped them, and his career kept going and kept going and kept going until he kind of just, there it was. I mean, I just feel like what would Elvis have would if he was around today, would he still be as what do you call it? Like impactful, I guess, as he was. You know what I'm saying there? Like if he's still here, is he as special? I guess.
Right.
You know?
That makes sense.
Like there's like shooting stars and there's like
Because it's
big
like the end
star,
of it.
you know?
It's the end of it. It can't ever happen again.
Yeah. Like he comes in, he fucking destroys, and he's gone before you know it. And it's like, man, he really made a big old impact, I got one for you, Tyler. I got a music conspiracy for you. I think you'll like.
Before we get into that, I just want to like say, okay, I threw out the whole Courtney Love being a CIA agent.
Yeah.
So if that would be the case, do you feel like the government, like with how Kurt was, like I feel like
Yeah.
that was the whole thing is that he was disrupting the status quo in a way, like his he voiced his opinions about everything, which everybody does that today, especially oh god, social media. Like it,
Really do feel like we are living in part of the world that he wanted.
yeah. To like so
You know,
with like what I'm trying to say is,
love it or
do you
hate it.
do you think it's a possibility that they would want him gone because of his like especially his reach in that time since there was no social media or anything, but he was a huge star.
Like the martyr thing.
Yeah, the
I
martyr
mean, that's
thing.
that's kind of like I mean, in a way, when you look at the grunge revolution, look at the kids involved in it, and they do the cliched quote all the time is like, well, he gave a voice to that generation. He kind of
Right.
did. I mean, because he was part of it. He was sitting there saying, like, dude, we're not fucking happy with this. We don't like this. This is bullshit. You know, you know what I mean? And then people latched onto it. So, I mean, if it really was a hit, like it was, hey, we're taking this guy out because he's inciting all this, disorder, wouldn't shock me. It's just, I just feel like, I don't know. I still feel like it's great, like reaching a bit, but it wouldn't shock me.
Right.
We're not ready for peaceful people. You can ask JFK and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You can ask all them guys about that. We're not ready for that. Obviously, we can't handle people trying to make a difference. We're like, ugh, it sounds good on paper, but it sucks. I mean, that's kind of it. You remember I said this on a previous episode, man. The only thing we worship is money. That's what we worship here. Say what you will. Say anything you want about religion, anything. You can claim it all day long till your face is blue. We worship the dollar. This is an economic country. That is our deity. And that's always our bottom line.
Yeah, we live and die by that dollar.
Absolutely.
And the crappy thing is it's going down in value almost every day. That's the shitty thing. I think our currency is it's going into the realm of what is it, like pesos, like pesos, like value wise. Like, isn't a dollar worth 1,000, or like I might be out of reach here.
I think it's like 1 to 100.
Yeah, 1 to 100.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
I think right now our dollar's worth technically around the world like 80 cents, maybe less than that. It's like, and you even said it, they took it off of it when they started doing this whole currency thing. It used to be it was like the equivalent of your gold. Like you traded your gold, and like this could be traded for gold or something like that. The equivalent of it. But they took that off now.
Yeah, it's not on there anymore.
That's not on there anymore. Because like shit, you can't just take $1 and get like